good to see you. How you all doing? That's great. Glad to see that nobody's outside selling vacant properties on this rainy day. So you're probably pretty intelligent to come in here and learn some new tricks like Kevin was saying. I teach a class like this on 28 tricks, and I'm anxious to hear because I'm always looking for new ways. There's nothing better than having contracts come into us. And how does it come in? Through you guys. So before I ever give anybody the benefit of my attention, I always want to know, like, what's your background, dude? What's your deal? So my name is Randy Gilbert, and I am the Chief Happiness Officer of Florida's Title Insurance Company. That's right. I used to be the CEO. I used to be the president, but I said, why not make something more apropos to that which I do, which I act as the liaison between you and the company. Almost like a patient advocate would act as the go-between between a patient and the hospital and advocating for you, for our company. So we are attorney owned. We are a presidential sponsor of the Miami Association of Realtors, which means that we are the absolute highest level of sponsor that your association has. In fact, we've sponsored so many classes. There's nothing I like dealing better with than educated realtors. That's why I teach so many classes, and that's why the Miami Association of Realtors gave me this, had me come out to Las Olas, gave me this beautiful Crystal Award for the best affiliate of the entire year for the association, because I support you guys so much. The other thing is that, I get awards all the time, and many of them I just throw in the garbage. But this other award is the award from the American Land Title Association. This is the equivalent to you getting an award from the National Association of Realtors. This award is because I created a website. I went through 1,000 different websites from title insurance companies in the state of Florida, saw what they were doing, what we needed to be doing differently. And the fact is, it was just a lot of people patting themselves on the back. So I basically poked fun at the entire industry, and I changed our model to be more about, we are no longer in the title insurance business, we are in the hospitality business. So this award was the best title insurance website in the entire country. So we beat out over 6,000 title insurance companies, and I was flown out to California and received this award. And I'm going to be giving you a link to that website where we have links to calculators so your clients can see exactly what they're going to be charged. I don't take your information. I have interactive documents. I thought it was miraculous that, many times realtors are really scared to come to their closing because they're afraid that they may be asked a question about the documents that they're going to be signing. So I have on our page interactive documents where you can just roll over it and it explains to you with pop-ups what everything means. The other thing is we have a federal trademark, the no junk fee guarantee. Why? Because I was so disgusted with my industry on bait and switches of prices that were being given, when the fact of the matter is the people would get to the closing and then they're line item to death with a bunch of additional charges. We charge one flat fee. It's $800 flat. We charge $0 for wires, $0 for FedEx, $0 for photocopies, $0 for storage or origination. Do you know that when I see these things, I say it's miraculous because there's a Florida statute that requires us to keep the documents for 7 years. So how are you charging a fee to a client for actually storing documents we're mandated to keep for 7 years in the first place? I see upcharges for title commitments, things that are not allowed. Well, your clients can rest assured, one charge, that's it. No upcharges, no pocketing fees at any other place. The other thing is that I write every month for Lifestyle Magazine in their articles on real estate. So I've been published for the past 3 years. I teach for the Urban Housing League for first-time home buyers. The other thing is that what realtors super like about us is that when your documents come in, when your contract comes in with our name on it on the first page, we Photoshop in your client's property. We make everything super specific to your client. Everything is originally done for your clients. And then we color coordinate what your client's requirements are onto important dates. So why is this good? Because it's an 88-point checklist that I created. It's not when the effective date is, when the deposit is, and when you close. This is a serious document that goes through your entire contract and also points out the deficiencies. I have a section called observations. So if I see conflicts, which I see all the time, no offense, and we get these things remedied immediately, and it's super simple. I always say realtors, it's not like if you mess up, it's not like your doctors and it is a medical malpractice. We can fix just about everything with an addendum, and we point these things out immediately at the very beginning so that everybody gets on the same page. The other thing is that we also run a campaign every single month. June is Gay Pride Month. So this month we're giving away $125 of our profits, not your profits, not your clients, not anything that's additionally charged, to that charity to support the Gay Pride Month. Also, this is our office. I'm going to wrap up right now. This is just my conference room. We have a 2,400 square foot penthouse. We're located in downtown Hollywood. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm on the board of directors for the Hollywood Art and Culture Center. So our office is filled with museum quality art. Typically, your clients will ask for a tour of the entire office of all the art that we have in place. When they come in through our glass and metal doors, they're going to be presented with a placard that says, "Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so to your closing." They're going to have menus personalized with their name on it. They're going to have a cheese board. I don't care if they're lactose intolerant. It doesn't matter to us. It's all about the presentation and how we're making them feel. We grind our own lattes. We've had baristas come in and teach us how to do latte art. Why? Because it's all about your clients. And the best thing that we've ever heard was from two doctors that we did a closing on, and they said, "You know what? You really made us feel like celebrities." And the last touch, the last concern, the last memory that they're going to have of the transaction is not going to be in a cubicle with gum on the floor or some particle board wood table. It's going to be in our glorious office. And that's how they're going to remember you, because they, like it or not, they associate us with you and you with us. So hopefully we get to do a transaction and we get to make you shine. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Peter. You guys have a phenomenal class. I'm going to stay and I'm going to take notes and see if there's anything I can add to my course, because I know you're going to be great.
Randy, I'm actually glad that you're staying. I was going to add, if you have any tips as we're going throughout this presentation, please do not hesitate to say, "Hey, Peter, I got an idea here." We obviously value your input greatly, not only in the legal side, but also the artistic side as well.
I will say this: I will only respond when spoken to. This is Peter's day, and I am not going to look outside, steal his thunder.
All right. Well, there's plenty of thunder to go around, so don't worry about stealing it. But we respect your decision, sir. Well, with that, I have the amazing Peter Ortega with us here. Thank you, everybody, for registering. Currently, we have 63 on the line. This is the official record for registrations for a buyer's representation class in the history of Miami YPN. So that's super exciting. And we have a fantastic presenter to give you all the great information that you need on a seller's market. Obviously, our curriculum has changed since the last buyer's market or seller's market. So in the last buyer's representation class. So with no further ado, Peter, you off mute?
We're ready to go.
He's ready to rock. Peter, the floor is yours. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending today.
Can you see it? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So let me just go back to my presentation. Is this what you're seeing? All right, so just talked about my husband, my daughter, and Hercules. Happy birthday, Hercules. Now let's go ahead and get started with the presentation. So here are some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. And if you guys have any questions, any updates or feedback, please feel free to chime in. So we're going to talk about the importance of a buyer's presentation. Like I said, we're not going over this presentation, but I want to make sure that all of you have your buyer's presentation ready. So that when you get a phone call and someone says, "I'm ready to pull the trigger," boom, you just give them a call. Second, you want to start to work smarter. One of the things that I notice with a lot of our agents is that they don't have their vendor list ready to go. Who's your title agent? Who's your lender? And by the way, I'll get into this in more detail. I don't think that you need to just have one vendor. You need to have multiple vendors in each category. And this is something that we'll talk. You guys just met Randy. So Randy's a perfect person for you guys to start putting into your data bank as your vendor, your preferred vendor. Now, the buyer's brokerage agreement. I know that a lot of agents, my team included, will often say, "I got a listing agreement signed, but I struggle with the buyer's presentations." I will tell you that every buyer that you're currently working with is probably reaching out to a lot of our YPNers and other agents. So the only way to protect yourself and your commission is to make sure that you have that buyer's agreement signed. Familiarize yourself with the MLS rules and fines. This is a very important topic for me, because if you are doing something that is incorrect and against the MLS rules and regulations, you will probably get a complaint from me, right? They're all anonymous, but I think this is an opportunity for all of us to start working smarter and become more professional. So please pick up your phones, answer your text messages and your emails. Effective use of showing time and showing lead. We'll talk about this because I know a lot of people no longer want to use showing time. So the association has rolled out another platform for you guys to use. present your offers. This is something that we'll go into detail, but it's really important that you know how to present an offer effectively and make sure that your offer is accepted. Include affirmation. This is a great form that most people don't even know about. It's an affirmation that your offer was presented. This is a form that the Miami Association of Realtors has put together. So I will show you where you can get it shortly. Love letters. I think we got you with the video, right? Love letters are a no-no. Please do not accept or deliver love letters. And again, there's more information that's coming. And then thinking outside of the box to make sure that your offer is more appealing. That's where I'm gonna spend the most time with this presentation. I would love for your feedback, because whatever you share with each other, I'm hoping that all of us can easily run and start applying this into our business right away. So I mentioned the buyer's consultation, right? The most important thing that you wanna do is have an open and honest conversation, and it starts from the very beginning. If you do not tell your clients what the market is like, not just for buyers, but also for renters, it is a little bit challenging. And when you present multiple offers and it doesn't get accepted, you start to see your clients get a little bit frustrated and upset. You will do the same thing. So the idea behind the buyer's presentation is that you get to express what is currently going on with our market. We have over 1,000 new residents that are migrating south. They're moving to Florida. We don't have a lot of housing there's a lot of housing that's being built, but not enough to accommodate all of the new Floridians that are migrating here. So if you don't have your presentation, get that together. Any questions so far about any of the things that we're going to be covering? I don't see any heads on this side. All right, perfect. So now let's talk about our vendors. Our vendors is really one of the critical points that we need to really focus on here. With everything that is happening in our market, things are moving pretty quickly. So I want to make sure that you're reaching out to multiple lenders. If you ask any of my colleagues and agents that I've worked with in the past, one of the things that I do with all of my vendors is I date them, and not literally, right? But I want to make sure that I get to know them. Why would I present or give business to to a new vendor that I don't have a relationship with? I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that if I give a lender business, that they're ethical, that they're not morally corrupt. You know, we are in Florida, so we want to make sure that we're doing all of the right things to make sure that, number one, you don't lose your license, and number two, that your client's offer goes from contract to close. It's really important. Title agent and attorneys, same thing. Inspection companies, you don't know where to find all of these vendors, go to the Miami RE website. We've got all of our preferred vendors that teach classes, vendors that give to our agents, and of course, a lot of them host incredible happy hours. So I really just want to make sure that when a vendor is giving us an opportunity to learn a little bit more about what's going on in the market, that we're presenting them with additional business. The one thing that I want to make sure that everyone here is working with is a contract manager. Most people that are high Ds, if you follow the disc, most people that are high Ds want to control everything because they know exactly what they want to do. Here is the important thing that you need to start doing: leveraging your team. All of you, whether you're a part of a team or not, you have a team. You've got a lender, you've got a title agent, you've got an inspection company, your contract managers, your broker. There's a lot of people that can easily support you. And if you have any questions and don't know who to reach out to, I'm gonna just go ahead and do a shameless plug. Follow us at Miami YPN on Instagram. Send us a message and say, I need some help. Is there someone that can help us? I promise you that Kevin or someone managing our YPN page will connect you directly to one of our YPN board members or someone that can help answer your question. Here's another important thing when you're working with your lender. A lot of us think that a pre-approval letter is sufficient. A pre-approval letter right now is not cutting it, right? Have a conversation with your lenders and ask for a DU. Have them go ahead and give you that desktop underwritten document that you can present with your offers, because that is going to show the sellers that your client is serious. They've already presented all of the material that they need to, all of the taxes. They've run their credit. They've done a lot of important things to ensure that your client who is buying the property is capable of going from contract to close. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on if there's no additional questions. Kevin, one of you will just stop me and say, hey, there's a question. Is that okay?
I'm not ready for that.
Awesome. So here we are, the exclusive buyer's agreement. How many agents are using this religiously? It's a part of your buyer's consultation. How many of you are actually using the exclusive buyer's agreement? You guys using it consistently, your team? All right, so thank you, Violet, for that, right? I think most of us can honestly say that we are not consistent with the buyer's agreement. And it's, I think it's fair to say that we don't use it sometimes with our friends and our family because we think that there's gonna be a little bit of loyalty, a little bit more loyalty there. But I will tell you that you are a professional. You must educate your clients and let them know exactly how you do business. If you do not get an exclusive buyer's agreement and your buyer goes to an open house and there's a much smarter agent who is there, they might sign in your client and say, you know, the property is available. If your client knows that they should be saying, by the way, Peter is my broker, reach out to him. Sometimes they're a little bit nervous, and in this market, they will go to the listing agent and say, accept my offer. I will pay you, which is against the law, right? But I've seen this before. I will pay you a higher, more money on top of your commission. If you accept my offer, you'll get both ends of the transaction. The most important thing here is you have to do what's right. Ask the question, do you have any representation? Do you have an exclusive buyer's agreement that is signed? If they say no, that is your opportunity to service that client. If they say yes, please back off and say, please do me a favor, have your agent reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to answer some of those questions. So moving forward, as you do your buyer's consultation, please make sure that you also don't leave the transaction without, the meeting without having your buyer's agreement signed. Here's one of my favorite things that the association has made very clear to all of us. We have rules that we all have to follow, right? And when we don't follow the rules, there's usually someone that will say, hey, Peter, bad job, here's an MLS fine. The beauty with this association is that we will give you an opportunity to correct your mistake. If you don't correct it, that's where some of these fines will start to kick in. I also want to emphasize that a lot of these rules are coming directly from the National Association of Realtors through the clear cooperation that we have. And more importantly for us, data integrity is crucial. It's one of the most important things that every single one of us should be really cognizant about. And here's an example of that. If you decide that your listing is not going to show as pending or active with contract because you are currently waiting for the inspection and the appraisal to be done, you're in clear violation of the rules and regulations. You've got a total of, if I remember correctly, it's 48 hours to make the change. Okay, so thank you for that. 48 hours, make it happen. Here's the worst part. If I'm working with a buyer and I say, hey, I'm this neighborhood expert and I can't get you into the property because it's already under contract, so the agent decides not to pick up my text messages, respond to my phone calls or my emails, you're doing something that is wrong, right? And so when all of a sudden the client says, hey, Peter, you couldn't get me into this property and it's now sold, come on, you said that you were the expert and that's why we hired you. What's wrong with you? So let's make sure that all of us are following the rules that are in place. And again, this is coming from NAR at the national level. Let's make sure that we're elevating the level of service that we're providing for everyone because we truly are professionals in this business. Okay, if you encounter this issue where someone is not responding, not, I guess, sending the offer to the client, and you know that that's the case, there's a small little button. It's a yellow triangle with an exclamation point. It is an anonymous way for you to go ahead and really complain about the agent who's not responding to text, putting the wrong information purposely on the MLS. So please report it. We want to make sure that we are providing every single agent, all 55,000 plus agents with the Miami Association of Realtors, with data that is truly correct. And so this is something that's going to be really important for all of us to use. I mentioned that scheduling your appointment were a little bit tricky, and tricky is maybe not the right word, but we did talk about there was a lot of feedback that was given when showing time was purchased by a big company, right? A lot of our agents said, we refuse to use showing time. Here's one of the expert things that the association did immediately after your complaints, or you voicing your opinions. We immediately reacted. So I have to give kudos to the corporate board and all of the other boards that really helped get this taken care of right away, for all of us to be able to say, here are two options that we can start using. My recommendation, as everything is moving pretty quickly, is that if you're on the listing side, I know we're talking about buyers, but if you're on the listing side, please make sure you give all of the agents that are working with buyers the opportunity to request a showing using Showingly and Showing Time. It provides us an easier opportunity to put these appointments on our calendar without having to copy and paste and do anything extra that we don't have time for. So this is something that I want to make sure that we are all really focused on as the market continues to stay hot, right? It's going to continue to be this way for a long time. Even with everything that we're currently experiencing, there are very few people that want to stay in New York, in New Jersey, in Georgia, in Connecticut, when they can be in sunny South Florida working from home. A lot of companies are going to keep their employees working remotely. So let's take advantage of this market, but let's all work together as a team. Now, one of the things that I think is really important for all of us to pay attention to is when you're presenting your offer, most people don't want to pick up their phone and call someone to say, I'm sending you an offer. You're in a business where you cannot send a text message and say, by the way, here's my offer, because if you send capital letters and an exclamation point, I might think you're yelling at me, and that is not the intent, but that is not an effective way to communicate and present big offers, right? There are a ton of offers that are multi-million-dollar deals. And even if it was a small $100,000 transaction, these are big investments that these families are making to be able to say that I am a homeowner. So when you're presenting your offers, here's my suggestion. My suggestion is that before you even go out and show the properties for your clients, go on DocuSign, go on Dotloop, go on whatever system you're using to make sure that all of your contracts are filled out, your as-is contract or whatever contract you're using, right? I use the as-is, so I'm gonna stick to that one. Your wire fraud prevention form, like any addendums that are there, please make sure that you have everything pre-filled. The moment you identify a property that your client likes, at that point, you can make the minor modifications. The property address is different. The down payment is gonna be different. The offer that you're putting on the table is gonna be a little bit different. You don't have to stress over writing all of the contracts, filling out all of the documents. All you have to do is minor edits, send it to your client, have them initial and sign. And then when you are about to present your offer, that's really when you want to pick up your phone and say, hey, Randy, this is Peter. I've got an offer that I'm getting ready to send over to you. What is going on with your client, right? Have you received any offers? Is there anything we should know before we present it? Your offer is already signed and ready to go. If you don't need to make any additional edits or modifications, at that point, hopefully you have your email completely drafted where you can just download the documents and send it out. That is my suggestion in a market where you're constantly competing against 10 to 15 other people who are outbidding you. So it's important that we do that. I'm gonna pause for a second.
Peter, there's a question from the chat, and so I figured this would be a good time to discuss it. Maybe you decide to hold off, but let's read the question first. One of the problems that Alinde is facing, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, is condos that say they accept FHA, but they are not listed on the FHA website. Do you have any recommendations on how to navigate that issue?
That's a great question. This actually comes up quite often with the boards that I've been a part of. And so one of the things that Danielle Blake has done is we're currently working behind the scenes to have a platform or a data bank where you can easily go in to get the information. We are also lobbying a lot of our legislators in Tallahassee to make sure that they do all the right things for homeowners and realtors alike. Unfortunately, we do not have something available for you right now. There is a website. The website's not always updated. My suggestion is that if you ever have some questions regarding FHA approved buildings, send an email to info@miamire.com. Someone will respond to you. Send a message directly to @MiamiYPN's Instagram page. One of us will respond to you. There are multiple people that are managing it. Unfortunately, this is going to be an ongoing issue until we're able to figure out a way that that really allows people to go ahead. It can't just be an allowance. It has to be a mandatory thing for people to say, this is a building that is currently approved. You can also reach out to your lenders. A lot of lenders might have a little bit more information for you, but you're not alone in this. So I might not be answering your question the way you would like for me to answer it. But what I would suggest is send an email to either info@miamire.com or reach out to us on our Instagram page @MiamiYPN. Is that okay, Kevin? All right. Now the beauty of love letters. How many of you here know that love letters are against, they're just no-nos? Because I received a message from a good friend of mine who's in Hawaii, and I believe they're still using love letters there. NAR has mandated that we immediately cease to either accept. So if you're working with the buyer and they say, hey, I read about this, can I give you a love letter? The answer is no. If you accidentally take the love letter and you're on the buyer side, you are not allowed to present it to the seller or the listing agent. If you do that, you're in violation of the clear cooperation. So I want to just show you, I'm going to leave this on here really quickly so that you get an opportunity to read this. This is coming directly from FAR. So the Florida Association, excuse me, NAR, the National Association of Realtors. What I would recommend, what I would recommend that you guys are thinking of is, why are these love letters now a big issue? It's Pride Month, right? Randy talked about it a little bit. I also said Happy Pride Month in yesterday's little video. Here's why. Let's say, for example, my love letter says, my husband and I cannot wait to raise my daughter in this house, right? We cannot wait to put up a Christmas tree. Now let's say that love letter went out to the listing agent or the seller, and they said, you know what? We are not going to accept this offer because we do not accept gay people here. Or we're a Jewish family. We don't want to have a Catholic family come in who celebrates Christmas. This is where we start to get into trouble. So we've just made it very, very easy for everyone. Focus on the actual terms of the offer and don't worry about the love letters. I understand. I've used them, and I hate that we can use them, but I also understand why. So I appreciate the education from the NAR level. Randy,
Peter,
I think I saw you come off.
If I may add as well, it's not just that the FHA has violations for discriminatory practice. It's also that they also have violations for preferential treatment. So maybe I am a gay family seeing a gay video of some potential buyers, or I am a Jewish family seeing a video of a Jewish family. Now I have preferential treatment. So that's probably why the NAR has said, hey, you know what, let's just steer clear of it all.
Agreed, 100%. And honestly, that is just two examples in one, right? Where someone is discriminating against another group of people that are protected, a protected class. So I just want to make sure that you're paying attention to these love letters, because it might be easy for you to say, well, what if I present this love letter and no one finds out, in order for me to finally get my client a property after 10 offers have been rejected? So it's very important that you're paying attention to all of that. Read your emails. I know you're getting bombarded by FAR, NAR, the Miami Association of Realtors, but I will tell you that you are a professional. rules and regulations are evolving, they're changing. During my YPN presidential year, we had a lot of really sad things come out of it, right? Black Lives Matter, the murder of so many of our Black brothers and sisters across the country. And so it's really important that we're all paying attention to what's happening as this, this career that we all love and appreciate is evolving, and we have to evolve with the times. And that means that love letters are a thing of the past. So do me a favor, do not send them. If you want to have a side conversation with me about how you can approach your sellers and get your buyer's offer accepted, stay tuned. We're going to cover that. And when we get to the end, I really would like to hear more about what you guys are doing, because I want my list, my creative list, to continue to grow. So here we are. So as I mentioned before, we want to make sure that we are preparing all of our documents in advance, whether you're using .loop or DocuSign, have them filled out. I don't know if any of you are doing that, but I've been doing this for, I want to say, the 8 years that I've been in business. I did not want to do whatever I do 2 or 3 times. I just want to have a system where if it's repetitive, it's already done and I don't have to waste any additional time. So prepare all your documents in advance and be ready to make minor modifications if you need to, so that your offer could be one of the first ones that's presented. Make sure your contract is completely filled out. Here's the one thing that I will tell you, 2 eyes are great, but 4 eyes are better. So if you submit an offer and you miss an initial, you miss a signature, everyone thinks they're under contract. You get to the negotiating table when it comes down to inspections or the appraisal. And then your seller decides they want to back out. They're able to,
Yeah, she got
because
it.
you didn't
No.
review
Okay.
the contract.
Yeah,
They might have known that they missed an initial. And if they
So
did
how long we
that,
have to
they might
wait?
be winning.
Who's
So
the
what I
ball
would
lady?
recommend is reach out to your broker, reach out to Randy, reach out to your lender, reach out to one of us. Allow
Who did
someone
you say
else
we
to
have to
just
go to?
review your contract before you send
Okay,
it
when
to
they're
make sure
finished.
that
Okay.
everything is done properly. But more importantly, this is where your contract manager, if he or she is effective, will catch all these mistakes from the very beginning and ask that everyone go ahead and initial and sign where initials and signatures were missed. Okay. Here's,
Peter, may I
I'm going to
add
give you a
something?
couple of tips that don't work for everyone. So
Peter,
here's what I'm
can
saying.
I add something?
Offer, when you present an offer, go above asking. And Randy, do you want to jump in here really quick?
Yeah, just on that point about initialing, it's, I also wrote an article about one of my pet peeves that realtors do. And that is whenever you initial, let's say that the contract is signed and you look on page 12 of the contract and you see that the contract was signed on June 25th by the buyer and June 28th by the seller. Now, I've got initials all over the place and markouts all over the place throughout the contract. Today is June 30th. I have no way of telling whether that contract was actually finally executed on June 28th, 29th, or today, June 30th, when I get the contract. Please, 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 realtors, if you're going to have your client's initial, then either one of 2 things, either have them date the initials, or 2, when you send out to your contract, tell whoever it is when the effective date of the contract is, so that everybody knows and there's no avoidance, there's an avoidance of doubt.
Hey, Randy, can I just, I just wrote down initials because I didn't want to forget. There's no reason for any of us to be using a pen and a piece of paper. The Miami Association of Realtors has done an incredible job providing all of us with systems that we can use in the 21st century. .loop, DocuSign, those things are going to protect you because, as Randy mentioned, you want to make sure that you date when they last initialed. If you are using the systems that we actually have available for all of you, all of that is recorded. It's safe, and if it goes to court, they will uphold the contract because they are time-stamped. So I just want to make sure that, again, if you want to use paper, go ahead, but the times have changed. Let's try to save some trees. Global warming exists, so I just want to make sure that all of you know that in order to be 1,000% protected, utilize some of the systems that we're offering you. I do understand that some clients refuse to sign electronically because they might just be a little bit old-fashioned or used to doing things a certain way. That's also okay. But whenever you have the ability to get them to sign electronically, please do that. Thank you for that, Randy. All right, so offer above asking. I know a lot of you have seen this a lot, right? I wrote here when appropriate. Not every buyer has disposable income to compete against some of our international clients, against New Yorkers, people from New Jersey. You know, we can't do it. So what I would like for all of you to really pay attention is, as you're having these buyer consultations, let your clients know. By the way, one of the things that we are seeing is a lot of people are going above asking. So if you're looking to get a deal and the property is priced correctly, it's very difficult to negotiate the contract down. I know that there are some clients that even some of my own clients that have told me that they wanted to present an offer that was lower than the asking price, even though we knew the property was worth more. Here's what happens after the first, maybe second contract that doesn't get accepted, possibly the third. They start to realize that you are truly educating them and telling them exactly what's going on in the market. But I think it starts, I know it starts from the very beginning, from your buyer's consultation. So please make sure that, again, you're having these conversations with your clients, whether they're comfortable or uncomfortable. It's truly what's happening in today's market. I also strongly encourage all of you to put down a stronger earnest deposit, right? If you really want to compete, tell your clients, hey, do you have additional money that you could put down in escrow? Because if we do that, then there's an opportunity for your transaction to go to the top of the list. Not all contracts that are the highest have the best terms. So that doesn't necessarily mean that because I presented a higher offer with a big down payment, but no exception to the appraisal, there's no point in taking that offer because it's going to be negotiated, especially if you're with the lender. Waive your inspections, again, when appropriate. I strongly recommend, and it saddens me to say that with Surfside, it's going to be even more important for all of us to make sure that we're educating our clients that when they present an offer, even if they waive the inspection, just do it anyway. You want to make sure that your foundation and your roof, some of the more expensive items in homeownership, are taken care of prior to you closing on that file. That is something that I'm just going to recommend that we do. There will be a lot of changes that come out from this horrific tragedy. So just stay tuned. Kevin?
Yes, so we have a question on the chat about offering above asking price, and then is there a percentage that you go by? Is there a rule of thumb when you go over offering price or asking price? I'm sorry. What strategies do you have there?
That's a great question. The first thing you need to do is have a conversation with the listing agent, right? Show up to these appointments. Don't just send your clients. Ask questions. Ask the questions in advance. So I obviously have Randy in front of my screen. So I would, if Randy was a listing agent, I'm presenting an offer, I would say, Randy, tell me what's going on. What is motivating your clients to sell the property? When they sell, where are they going? So I just want to have as much information as possible. And then remind me again, I just lost my train of thought. Strategy.
For over.
And so what I want to do after I have that conversation, I want to find out what are the comps in the neighborhood. When things are going on the market, what are they being listed for and what are they selling for? Because I think that is really an opportunity for you to say, by the way, in this particular market, we are seeing that properties are selling for 10% more than the asking price. So it's very difficult to answer the question without knowing the farm area that you're in. Real estate is very local. So every part of the city, downtown Brickell, you will have different price points. So the strategy there is have the conversation with the listing agent, find out what's motivating the seller to sell their home. Secondly, look at the comps. You're a professional, you're a business owner. Look and see what is available in the market and what they're selling for. And if Randy says, hey, Peter, this client is just highly motivated, which by the way, is not something any of you should be using as part of your vocabulary, that tells me that this person needs to sell. I would want to ask Randy, what is the motivation? So there could be a loss of employment. There could be a loss of a family member. There could be so many different things that have occurred. So the strategy there really should be having that conversation with Randy. And I think this is where YPN is very effective. We work together as as colleagues, right? We're a part of a team. If I have the listing or the buyer, I want to make sure that whoever's the cooperating broker, that we're working together, because we are waking up unemployed every single day until that transaction closes. Then we've earned a commission check. So that really helps us, get to the finish line and take personality out. Don't allow your personal feelings and emotions, dictate where the transaction is going to go, because that's what kills our deals. Kevin.
Yeah, I think just to amplify what you said right now, the only time you're competing with other realtors is at the listing presentation, or the listing presentation, the buyer's presentation, when you're trying to get a client. Otherwise, you're working together. There's a follow-up question though, and it's from our friend Ryan. Thanks for being active in the chat, Ryan. The question is, what if there are 16 offers and the offer should be above asking price or appraised, or both?
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky, right? I don't have the secret answer, the secret pill for this. I'll give you an example. I sold a home where I had over 30 offers on the property. I thought we were listing it a little bit high because the property was, in my opinion, a teardown, right? I did not fake it. I showed everyone exactly what they were going to be walking into. Every offer that we received was at full price or full ask or higher. We sold it $20,000 over the asking price. And so what I would say is organize yourself. So what I did is I pulled up every single transaction. I created an Excel spreadsheet. I wrote down when the offer was presented. I wrote down what the offer was for. I wrote down the escrow deposit. How much is the escrow deposit? Are they financing? Are they paying cash? So when I sat in front of my client, obviously on the listing side, I was able to see what some of the buyer's agents were doing to get us to pay attention. At that time, love letters were acceptable. So we were getting a lot of those love letters. And luckily for us, we didn't use them, but we did narrow down from all of the transactions that we received. There were 3 buyers that were pretty comparable. And so what my client decided to do was provide sell the home to a client who not only did not present the highest offer, but had the best terms. So the offer was still $20,000 over ask, but there was no inspection, there was no appraisal, and they had a higher escrow deposit. That's what made us a little bit more, that's what made them more competitive and got us to the closing table.
Very good. Peter, you good with more questions? I think there's a lot rolling in at this time, so I think it's a good way to segue. We still have about 15 minutes left in the class too. Okay, so they're really starting to fly now. That you're doing a good job. All right, so the next question is, let me find it. Oh wow, I was going up there. Okay, when you have a conventional or an FHA, and you offer above asking, but the appraised amount is lower, will buyer have to pay the additional monies, or can that be included in the loan amount?
So here's what I would say. Talk to your lender, right? I'm not a lender here, so I can't give you, I don't know what this client's finances look like. So this is a loaded question, in my personal opinion. Do any of you have any suggestions?
Have to pay out of pocket above the appraised value, because the bank will only finance up to the appraised value. Once they sell that loan, no investor is going to purchase a loan that is undervalued or overvalued.
So I think, and I copy what Gabe is saying, right? Here's the thing: if you accept an offer that is clearly you're getting more money than the property is truly worth, and it's a financing transaction, you must get in writing. There should be an addendum that's drafted that says, in the event that the transaction does not appraise, the buyer is still willing to give us $20,000 above appraisal, right? Whatever you negotiate, those are things that need to be negotiated between the buyer and the seller. And what I would encourage you to do is encourage them to put that additional $20,000 in an escrow account, because if you don't have money, to back you up, then there's really no deal, because the lender is going to say, I'm sorry, I'm only going to offer you a loan based off of the appraised value. Anything over that, I can't help you. And that's where the money that you have in escrow will really come in to help save the deal. So that's what I would suggest.
All right, let's keep it going. That's a great answer. Okay, can you still get home insurance without having a home inspection?
I think what you're asking for is the wind mitigation. So you'll still have to do the wind mitigation and the 4-point inspection. So those things will have to get done. What I'm encouraging encouraging all of you to do is still do the inspection, even if you waive it, because there's going to be another opportunity for you to back out of the transaction, and that's after the appraisal, right? If your contract is contingent on the appraisal and the property doesn't appraise and that's not something you negotiated, your client can back out of the transaction. So there's a lot of tricks here. I'm happy to give some tricks away, but I also think that some of them have to stay within the group. So join YPN, we'll give you all the tricks. That's what I'm going to say.
All right, no, let's keep the rapid fire questions going. Davika's asking, so how do multiple offers work if you do not have a deadline to send in an offer?
Oh, I would recommend that you do not submit a contract without a deadline. Everything should be filled out. I personally don't like leaving any blanks on the contract, but guess what? There are dates, there's deadlines that we should definitely be paying attention to. So, what did I do?
That was actually cool. You
Okay.
can leave that up.
What did I do?
It was just a video of you.
I don't know what I did, and I don't know how to go back.
All right. Next question. All right. Next question is.
And by the way, sorry, Kevin.
No.
I will be talking a little bit about an escalation clause that will help answer, the bigger deposit and how to compete with multiple offers. So go ahead, Kevin.
Okay. All right. So I got to get off mute. Well, you'll be sharing your spreadsheet that you used for your comparable offers.
I can. Yeah. Can you just remind me to send it?
Yep. Yeah. Just include it with the presentation when you send it over. I'll remind you. What is your advice for buyer's agents as when they don't know about the other side?
My suggestion is really just to have a conversation, right? Have a conversation because like I said, and Kevin reiterated this, we are all a part of a team. So we want to make sure that we're all working together. And that's why I've said, take the emotion out because it's very easy to take things personal, but take that emotion out. I don't know. I don't know how to answer the question.
Okay. The person who are answering that question, do you have a follow-up question to help Peter along? Or do you need any more information?
Come off of Mike and let's have a conversation. Let's work this out together.
All right. Well,
all right.
Maybe you got it. Yeah, there's one more. There's one more before we go back to the presentation. All right. Laura Serrano has been finding it hard to get her VA clients' offers accepted. They've offered above asking, over appraisal, and reduced time frames of the inspections and such. Any suggestions or tips to come above in multiple offer situations?
Well, I think there's a misconception that if you are a VA buyer or an FHA buyer that you can't put any money down. So my recommendation is that when you're working with a VA buyer, obviously those are incredible programs where you have limited money or no money at all that you're putting down. I think it's great. I would just say that your offer must be 100% solid. There's certain things you're not going to be able to waive. However, my recommendation is you reach out to your lender that you're working with on the VA side and say, hey, we're still coming up with these issues. Our offers are not getting accepted. What can we do? But more importantly, ask your client, are they able to come up with any additional money? Because what I'm seeing now with FHA transactions, we're getting really high deposits or escrow deposits. However, people have suffered their credit scores have suffered during the pandemic, but they have sufficient money to go ahead and put down. So I think there are some ways to get through it, but the only way to truly have your offer accepted is by communicating with the other agent. There's a couple of things on my list that will also help to answer this particular question. But I would say engage with the listing agent, have an open, honest conversation and say, hey, my clients have presented 5 offers, none of them have been accepted. What is it that your client needs and how can we make a deal happen? I think that's something that for all of us, we can easily take that away from this particular class. We need to have more conversations with our teams, meaning buyer and listing agents, you're all a part of a team. So have those conversations, pick up your phone.
Brilliant, Peter. Those were great fielding those questions. I think Gabe answered the last question in the chat about when lenders can't disclose the DU. If you don't have any sort of comments on that, go ahead, continue with your presentation.
I would just add to that, have a conversation with your lender, because your lender can easily pick up the phone. If they're an effective lender, they'll pick up the phone and say, hey, Peter, I hear that you have some questions. How can I help you? So that's why I always say date your vendors, right? What are they going to do for you? Because I know that they all want our business. Everyone wants our business. But I also say, if I'm giving you all this business, what are you doing for me? What are you giving me? So it has to be a relationship that works both ways. Here's one thing that I'm going to go. I know we don't have that much time left. I want to talk a little bit about the escalation clause. The escalation clause is where you, I'll just read you the actual definition. The escalation clause is a clause or an addendum, and it has to be in writing, to a real estate contract that notes the buyer is willing to raise his or her offer price if the seller receives a higher competing offer. So here's the way I see this. I'm just going to use simple numbers so that it's easier for all of us. I have a transaction for a listing for $100,000. If I receive an offer with an escalation clause that says, Peter, my buyer is willing to go up to $110,000, going up by $1,000 to go above the highest offer. What occurs there is, and you have to really make sure that your escalation clause is fully filled out and vetted by an attorney to protect your client. What that does is that if there are a few offers on the table that match, and it matches your offer, they're exactly the same, your offer really should win because you're going above by $1,000 to get to that $110,000 price point. If you do it correctly, because I know there's probably going to be a few questions that say, how do we know that the offers that are being presented to the seller are truly there, as opposed to the agent just making up that they received multiple offers on a property? The escalation clause, if filled out correctly, does say that the listing agent must present you with the highest offers so that you know that you're not presenting a high offer just because. And so I think the escalation clause are going to be something that's going to help all of us. I know a lot of us don't talk about it. I feel like it's one of my secret weapons when it comes down to competing against other buyers. So include it in your protocol. If you have questions, I don't want to go into explaining the legality of it because I am not an attorney. I would say talk to your lenders, talk to your title agents, talk to your brokers. Talk to Randy. I'm looking at Randy. So Randy, I'm hoping that everyone sends you business, right? Talk to Randy, have a conversation, because they're really important in today's market. In my opinion, I've replaced the love letter with the escalation clause. It's been working. Randy, I see you're off mute.
Peter, let me ask you something, because to me, escalation clauses, I did a little article on the advantages and disadvantages, and the response typically from a seller would be, well, why didn't you put your best foot forward? Why are you playing games with me? Why didn't you just say 120,000 if you're willing to go up to 120,000, but only if somebody offers it first? So what I like better than the escalation clause is the kickout clause, which is basically, it says that, look, you know what, and maybe you're going to be talking about this, Peter. So again, I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, thanks for.
So a kickout clause is, and I hate the terminology, the legal terminology is the right of first refusal. It's essentially saying, listen, if somebody else offers you a better offer, then you have to present it to me first, or you could kick me out. But if I don't beat it, match it, or beat it, then I'm out. So it's a good way, especially if you're a realtor representing a seller who says, listen, I really think my property is a gem. I think this property is worth 200,000, not 100,000 like you say. So you say to your client, listen, I'll tell you what, we'll do a kickout clause. Well, you think your property is so valuable? Well, if another offer comes in on your $200,000 property for more than what this buyer is offering at 100,000, then that buyer will either move into second position or get kicked out, or they got to pony up some more money. So I like the kickout clause better than the escalation. In some states like Texas, the escalation clause isn't even legal. In Florida, I've never heard of there ever being an issue with it, but those are my 2 cents on the advantages and disadvantages and my preference.
Randy, that kickout clause is actually phenomenal. I've never even heard of that term before. I'm sure there's some realtors that don't as well. You mentioned the article. Do you mind posting that in the chat?
I see a head nod, so I think we're gonna get it. Thank you, Randy. And I'm thankful that you stayed for this presentation and are giving us even more information, right? That's the point of this class, is that we all need a few tips to make sure that we're a little bit more competitive in this hot market that we're experiencing. So I always challenge my team that if you don't want the headache of being an Uber driver or a Lyft driver and constantly running, showing properties, getting your offers declined, focus on the listing side. You're the one that's controlling the market when you're there. So let me just get back to the buyer side. So there's the escalation clause. I just added on my list the kickout clause. So thank you for that, Randy. We talked about no love letters. I hope that I made it very, very clear that love letters are something that you are not allowed to present. Post-occupancy agreements are also a very common thing right now. We are seeing a lot of buyers who are giving the sellers the opportunity to stay in their property for a month to 2 months. And the reason that this has happened is that when these sellers are selling their homes, where do they go next? Now they start to have the same challenges with finding a property unless they're moving out of state or moving outside of their neighborhood. So let me see, do I have anything here? Here's something that I heard from one of our team partners, Agustina, in Washington State. She had been working with a buyer, and one of her buyers was getting all of her offers rejected. One thing that she did was say, hey, I'll pay for your client's closing costs, moving costs. Where are they moving to? Let me get the movers, we'll pay for that. That actually ended up being much cheaper for the buyers and actually offering more money. So be creative. I don't think that there's anything against paying for someone's moving costs, right? So if it's something you want to include in the contract, you may. But I think this is an easy way to just have that conversation and pay for it. All right, submit a backup offer. Here's something that most agents just decide, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to waste my time. I have to continue to show more properties. My team has been pretty successful with backup offers. So even when our offers have been declined, they have not been accepted, we've said we would still like to become your backup offer in the event that something goes wrong with the inspection, the appraisal. Guess what? The single family homes and condos all have little teeny tiny things that are wrong with it, right? So depending on what the buyer is interested in, if there's not that big of an issue, they're just going to go ahead and say, you know what, that's fine, I'm going to move forward with it. Some people are a little bit more picky and want things to get done. If the seller decides, I am not going to make any adjustments for you or price reductions, because you also know that your backup offer might be higher, why not just go ahead and present it? I promise you that if you start to incorporate backup offers into your regular daily real estate business, thank you, Kevin, it's going to help you out a lot. And here's another thing that I want to make sure that all of you, because we hear this often from a lot of our people, and it happened instantly with the tragedy of Surfside. Everyone said, what can we do to help? Unfortunately, they don't want us to donate anything, right? There's been an abundance of help from different countries, from the US government. Everyone is really trying to help. If you want to give back, here's something that I would encourage you to do. If you are looking to say, I want to go ahead and donate a portion of my commissions to 501c3 or a company or someone that is going to be helping other people out, I just wouldn't recommend that you give the money directly to a person because I think you're in violation at that point. However, if you're going to give a portion of your proceeds, this could be a good way for you to also gain more business. I don't want to be opportunistic here where I'm putting Surfside, right? I just wanted to make sure that I talked about Surfside because a lot of people continue to reach out to me saying, how can I help? This could be a good way for you to do it. And the reason I added this to my list is because one of our agents in my office is currently taking advantage of Pride Month. What he has said is, if you hire me, I will give a portion of my commission to an LGBTQ organization of your choice. So this obviously brings other people that say, you know what, Kevin has a big heart. He's giving back a portion of his commission. Let me hire Kevin to help me buy the next home. And, you know, it works. So that's what I would recommend. I think these are some of my these are the last tips that I have for you. I want to say thank you for joining me and coming to this class. If you want to connect with me, you can follow me on Instagram at Peter Ortega Realtor. But I would really like to connect with you through our @Miami YPN Instagram page. That's where all the fun is at. So if you guys have any more questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. And I've got a group of professionals here that may help.
Hey, Peter, there was one on the chat while everybody else formulates their questions. Do you use an addendum personally? And if so, do you have the buyer wire the EMD? Is that what it's called, or is it END? I don't know if it's a typo or an EMD. It's an EMD? Okay.
Yeah, that was actually my question.
Let me just start
That's
off
in
by
reference-
saying you will never, ever, ever offer up any wiring instructions to your client. So don't allow yourself to get into some serious trouble. If you're not currently using the wire fraud prevention form, it's an addendum. I would encourage you to start using it right away. Many brokers do not allow you already to send those wiring instructions. So if I'm working with Randy, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to send an email to Randy and my client to say, Randy will email you the wiring instructions. Allow Randy or whatever attorney or title company that you're working for, allow them to do that. It'll save you a ton, because if all of a sudden you decide that you want to go ahead and send the wiring instructions and it's $200,000 that they sent over and that money goes lost, guess who's going to get sued? It's going to be you, your broker, and everyone involved with the transaction. So I just want to make sure that I encourage you to never, ever send those wiring instructions.
It looks like Monique raised her hand for this question. Monique, you wanna hop on, or you just want to voice your question via audio? The floor is yours. Let me turn up the mic so Peter can hear it. Hey, mute yours, Peter, so that there's not a terrible echo.
Hello, yes, I just want to clarify my question. It was actually in regards to when he was speaking of the backup contract. I was asking if he actually uses the addendum, because I was asked to use that. I've used it once. So I just wanted to get a better understanding of how that contract is used. And based on the verbiage, they do ask for the deposit to be sent to title, to escrow. So I was wondering if that's something that you also do when you do the backup contract. Oh, I can't hear you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Monique. Always use the addendum. Always make sure that you have some money in escrow, especially if the clients really believe that this is their home, their forever home, right? If they're really interested, this is a good way to say, we are serious about this backup offer. So the answer is yes and yes.
All right, Peter, more coming. Let me see what the next one was. Okay. When submitting the escalation clause, does the listing agent have to present the best offer that was received?
The listing agent should present every offer that was received, with the exception of if I'm the seller and I say, do not present any offers to me unless it's my full ask, or if it's a verbal offer, just don't present it. I think that your responsibility as a professional is to always present every single offer. And I'll tell you that in my personal experience, Mike, I've had several clients that have said, if it's not a full ask offer, do not bring it to me. Guess what? When the property has been on the market for over 2 weeks, that's my rule of thumb, right? If it's on the market for 2 weeks, there's been no offers or no showing requests, you're overpriced. And so what I always tell everyone is just go ahead and do the right thing, and present every single offer every single time that you get a contract.
Anyone else? You can type it in the chat, or you can pop on like I do. Anyone else? You can pop on the chat, or you can pop up on here like I do.
It's so nice to be able to see all of these screenshots of people. I hope that you're all closing out a lot of transactions or showing properties today. I know it's terrible weather. I just wish I could see everyone's faces. Thank you, Victoria, for showing your face. I really appreciate it. And Shirley and Patricia and Randy. Oh, Jose, I see you came on screen. Okay, this is awesome. I'm starting to see more faces. Honestly, guys, what I want to leave you with before we leave, if there's no additional questions, is our industry is changing rapidly. We need powerful voices. We need diversity within our boards. We need all of your honest opinions. And right now, if you're starting to see that contracts are starting to fall apart because of the 40-year certification, process that buildings have to undergo. There was an email that was sent out by Danielle Blake from the Miami Association of Realtors. We need all of your feedback. We're working diligently with the Miami-Dade Mayor, Daniela Cava-Levine, to come up with solutions for all of you, because you're all asking what is going to happen. We know that there will be many, many changes that affect us personally, that affect us as a business, as an industry. And I think that there will be awesome things that come out of it, right? Safety and protection for all of us and all of our homeowners is really the biggest priority. So it's great to see, that the governor, the mayor, the president are all working together to really help us figure out what the heck happened in Surfside. So all of your feedback and your opinion is really, really important for us to be able to move forward after this horrific tragedy.
Well said, Peter. Do you have any final thoughts, Peter, or can I go ahead and shout out the next big event through Miami YPN?
And you're more than welcome to come here if you want.
All right.
One last
Yeah, all right.
question for Peter.
All right, cool. We'll do a switcheroo. All right. All right, cool. I'm not on mute either. All right, so coming up on July 13th at 5 p.m., we have our welcome ceremony for the District 4 Conference. There will be no official programming that day. However, we will have a happy hour, and I'm still working out the details on a scavenger hunt. I hope I can put that together in time. I think it will. All right, so after June 13th, June 14th, the next immediate day from 9 a.m. all the way to the evening hours, we have our District 4 Conference. Miami YPN has had the pleasure to fly in 5 guests this year. No cost to Miami members either. They want to come out here because we have such a great organization. So that'll be all day programming. You can find the full conference promo on district4conference.com. And then it's July 15th, there's a half day of programming. There's some people that'll be hanging out at the Hard Rock as well. This whole conference is at the Hard Rock. So even if you don't want to pay for the conference, I believe it's $75, completely understand. There will still be some marvelous networking that takes place after hours. So we'll be in the we'll be in one of the areas in the Hard Rock. So if you're looking to just mingle, have a little fun, but you can't afford the conference, completely understand. Just hit us up on Miami YPN on the DM, and I'll do my best to reach out to everybody, let you know where we are. The programming is fantastic. We have Rebecca Donatelli flying in from Cleveland, Ohio. She'll be talking about how the ultimate guide for an influencer. We have people talking about 20 apps in 20 minutes. So we'll be providing a lot of tech, negotiations, branding, finding riches in the niches, culture wins, how to a team building class. We have a lot of great content that is directly applicable to the businesses that you're running today. So please sign up, or if you don't sign up, please just join us at the Hard Rock afterwards. We'll be hanging out around 5, both on July 13th and 14th, and then maybe on the 15th as well, but some people will be going home. So with that, if nobody else has any other questions, we are so grateful for this being the record-breaking buyer's representation course. We thank you so much for attending and to lean on Miami YPN when you don't have all the answers. We don't either, but we love to collaborate and figure it out. So with that, I know it's raining out there. I know you probably don't want to show listings, but I know a few of you do have listing appointments. Go out there, be great, be safe, and we'll see you at the District 4 Conference. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Was this a host?
No, my desktop was. I lost your mouse.